The White House threw a curveball at everybody on the issue of Israel. They released a statement and said, "The American desire for peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians has remained unchanged for 50 years. While we don't believe the existence of settlements is an impediment to peace, the construction of new settlements or the expansion of existing settlements beyond their current borders may not be helpful in achieving that goal. Trump will continue discussions on the topic during Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's visit to Washington later this month." So let me give everybody the backstory on this. During the Republican primary, Donald Trump got in a lot of trouble because he came out and said, I'm going to be neutral. I'm going to be neutral on the issue of Israel-Palestine because we're going to make a deal. We got to get everybody to the table, so you got to be neutral. You got to try to make peace. Then the media in the U.S. flipped out. The politicians in the U.S. flipped out, and everybody said, I can't believe you just said that. In the United States, we are massively biased in favor of Israel, and that's the only position that's acceptable. The Palestinians are savage, backwards, crazy people, and the Israelis' liberal values, they're so liberal and they're so open-minded, so when they occupy, it's fine. And we always say we're on the side of Israel. We have an unbreakable bond with Israel. So Trump was like, oh shit, here's my guess. He didn't know anything about the conflict. He didn't know anything about the region. So what do you do when that's the case? Well, you default to what appears to be the obvious answer. Hey, how are you going to get peace in the Middle East? I'm going to be neutral. Because who can be against neutral? It's like, okay, yeah, I'll be an arbiter for peace who's listening to both sides and being reasonable and open-minded. Well, no. That's, again, in the U.S., that's a no-go zone. You got to say, I'm biased in favor of Israel. So when everybody flipped out, Donald Trump was like, oh shit, testing the political winds. He's like, no, did I say that? No. I'm the most pro-Israel person you've ever heard ever. I'm more pro-Israel than anybody on this stage. How about that? So he flipped to being massively pro-Israel. And then when Obama and Kerry did the toothless UN resolution that said, hey, maybe Israel should follow international law like everybody else has to, and they should stop stealing Palestinian land. When they said that, of course, Trump, defining himself in opposition to Obama, by definition, he goes, oh, outrageous, oh, I can't believe it, that's so bad and so wrong, and you're an impediment to peace. By telling Israel they have to follow international law, you're being so unreasonable. So, and then it appeared like, oh no, it's all systems go, they're going to go 100% and let Israel continue to build settlements, continue to steal more land, continue to do, infinite, endless occupation, continue their apartheid state, continue oppressing the Palestinians. And it just looked like, Donald Trump is snuggling up to the far right in Israel and letting them do whatever they want. Well, now Netanyahu, after Trump, kind of laid his cards out there on the table, Netanyahu was like, is it my birthday? Oh, shit. Anyway, yeah, so, we've announced new settlements. Yes. We've announced new settlements, and they're so wonderful. Yes. And then he, every once in a while, would tweet some shit, like the other day, he tweeted about, Trump's wall is a brilliant idea. Like, oh, by the way, all people who are liberals in the U.S. who are, defending Netanyahu, do you feel good? He's given Trump smooth hand jobs. So liberal to be on Trump's side 100% and massage his ego. So he thought like, oh, we're in the clear. We're going to go forward. Let's start. Boom. Let's start with new construction. So apparently in the past few days, Trump is being told by his advisors, like, yeah, you kind of gave them the blessing to like build more settlements and take more land. And he's like, oh shit, what? Release like a tepid statement here telling them to pump their brakes a little bit, and that's what this is. He's saying, well, I mean, look, the existence of settlements isn't an impediment to peace, but the construction of new settlements or the expansion of existing settlements beyond their current borders may not be helpful in achieving that goal. So that's Trump's way of saying, pump your brakes a little bit. Because, Netanyahu has a hard-on to just take all the Palestinian land. So that's where we are now. So there's two options. Either Trump, is realizing like, oh shit, no, this is like, if I actually want to try to get peace in the Middle East, which is, the elusive thing that all U.S. presidents haven't been able to do. If he actually wants to do that, and he might, I don't know, then he might actually be going, oh, no, you can't do that. That actually is an impediment to peace. I mean, that's one option, that he like genuinely had kind of a change of heart and he's like, we got to do the right thing on this. Or it's kabuki theater, which is probably more likely, which is somebody in his administration is smart enough to say to him, hey, man, look, you can let Israel do whatever they want, but we lose all international credibility and standing when literally everybody else at the UN is like, hey, Israel is wrong and they're violating international law and this needs to be stopped. And, you know, it's just the US and Israel against everybody saying, no, that's not true. So you undermine everything the U.S. does everywhere around the world and all of our bullshit about, hey, human rights and civil liberties and we're the world police and we care about altruism and humanitarianism. So it's either I'll just release a statement and, you know, do flowery rhetoric and have it be bullshit and pretend like, you know, this is what every administration does. Tisk, tisk, Israel, how dare you do that? Anyway, keep doing it and here's billions of dollars and here's weapons. It's either that or it's Donald Trump, you know, with his massive ego is like, maybe I can get Middle East peace and I'll go in the history books in an even greater way. Tremendous, believe me. So, hey, whoa, with those settlements. So I don't know. I don't know which one it is. My guess is I lean more on the side of they're just doing the kabuki theater and like, yeah, we are against it. Anyway, keep going. We don't give a shit. But it is true that Trump is a vindictive, thin-skinned buffoon. So, but that I think Netanyahu is smart enough to know how to play Trump right. Because if Netanyahu crosses Trump, then I think Trump might actually be like, hey, fuck you. And, you know, now he's going to cut off aid or do something that Obama would never in a million years do, which would be a good thing. But I think Netanyahu is smart enough to know, oh, I can't do that. I got to be smart about how I play Trump. And you got to do the Kellyanne Conway trick, which is even when you're disagreeing with him, make him think that you're agreeing with him and make him think that he's coming up with the ideas that you want to do. So you find a way to get Trump to say like, yeah, tremendous, believe me, build more settlements, wonderful. And then you're like, yeah, no, totally, yeah. Remember when you came up with that idea for me to build more settlements? I think you're so smart and so great, Don. Anyway, we're doing that because you're so wonderful. So, I don't know, man. It's a turbulent time because we have a man-child as president. And I just hope he's sincere that, you know, maybe Israel continuously stealing more and more land from the Palestinians is a bad idea. But who knows? He seems to be a vapid, vacuous, amoral/immoral shell of a human being. He's got a hole where his conscience is supposed to be. So who knows? But this is the news from today.